His fingertips were icy cold, and the instant they touched my skin, I clearly heard him gasp sharply. After I took the place of the bride and became his chaste wife, he started showering me with flirtatious remarks. I married into a top dynasty aristocratic family in my sister's place. The marriage partner is Lucien, the legendary heir known for his cold demeanor and ascetic lifestyle. At the wedding, he kept a cold face throughout the entire ceremony and didn't even bother to give me a single glance. When the priest asked him if he was willing, his face remained as calm and serene as an iceberg with not a ripple in sight. "I'm willing." But suddenly, a completely different voice rang out in my mind. "Honey, you smell so good I just want to kiss you. Why aren't we at the bridal chamber yet? It's driving me crazy." My name is Song Zhiya Fake, who was thrust into the spotlight to take my sister, Song Qingwash NS, place in Mary Lucien, the heir of the Lu family. At the wedding venue, fragrant garments and delicate hairstyles mingled as glasses clinked and toasts were exchanged. But all the excitement has nothing to do with me. I stood beside Lucien like a delicate but lifeless puppet, enduring the gazes sometimes filled with pity, sometimes laced with mockery that came from all directions. They're all laughing at my joke. Watch how this presumptuous substitute of mine is spurned by the cold, minus-hearted Lucien. Lucien is indeed very cold. From the start of the ceremony until now, he has said a single word to me, not even given me a single glance. The crisp, woody scent emanating from him mingled with a chill that kept others at bay, creating a vast expanse, a galaxy. Between us, the priest's solemn voice echoed through the church. "Mr. Lucien, do you take Miss Song Zhiya as your wife?" Whether I kept my eyes lowered, clutching the bouquet tightly, waiting for the expected cold "I do." "I'm willing." 3 characters just like him, devoid of warmth. I resignedly closed my eyes. Just then, a restless and urgent voice shot into my mind with the precision of an electric current. "Honey, you smell so good. I just want to kiss you. Why aren't we at the bridal chamber yet? It's driving me crazy." I froze suddenly, thinking I was experiencing auditory hallucinations. My wife's eyelashes are so long, almost like little fans. Is she unhappy? It's all my fault. Why did I pretend to be aloof? What if I scare her away? No way. Can't let my public image crumble. I've got to keep up the celibate image so I can surprise her. Me? I slowly raised my head and, in disbelief, met Lucien's deep, dark eyes. His face still wore that perpetually frozen iceberg expression, his eyes so cold they seemed capable of shedding ice chips. But that voice kept relentlessly flooding my mind. "She's looking at me. She's finally looking at me. My wife's eyes are so beautiful, like a lake that holds stars. I'm completely lost in them." I looked at his handsome face, which was so serious it could almost be described as rigid. And then I heard those ferocious, feral words echoing in my mind. A sense of absurd disconnection made me finally unable to hold back any longer. I left. My smile not only left the guests around me stunned, but even Lucien himself showed a tiny crack appearing on his icy facade. His brow was slightly furrowed, his eyes filled with a hint of curiosity and an almost imperceptible trace of panic. Why is she laughing? Did I give myself away somewhere? When she smiles, it's truly beautiful, just like cherry blossoms blooming on a spring branch, instantly blossoming right in my heart. No way, Lucien, you've got to stay calm. I stifled a laugh as, under his piercing gaze and the chatter in his head, the priest declared that we had exchanged dreams. His fingertips were icy cold, and the instant they touched my skin, I clearly heard him gasp sharply. So soft. My wife's hands are so soft. I want to hold them for a lifetime. I kept my head lowered, my shoulders trembling barely perceptibly. So, this is what the legendary contrast cuteness is all about? This man, who appears cold and ascetic in front of others, turns out to be a pure minus-hearted, talkative romantic at heart? At the reception following the wedding ceremony, I finally got a real taste of it. Guests kept arriving one after another to offer their toasts. Lu Shen held his wine glass, responding briefly and concisely, his face radiating an unmistakable stay away from strangers vibe. A man of similar age. Likely his friends smiled and teased him playfully. A-Shun, you've really struck gold. You've won the heart of a beauty. Little sister minus in minus law. My name is Shuzia Eng. If A-Shen ever bullies you in the future, just let me know, and I'll beat him up for you. Lu Shen glanced at him coldly and said, You're really bored? Shuzia Eng rubbed his nose reluctantly. That the bullet comments in my head were exceptionally brilliant. Hit me. Just you try touching a single hair on my wife's head. He'll break your legs. And hey, little brother minus in minus law, why are you calling her so affectionately? Stay away from my wife. I almost choked on the wine. Immediately afterward, a woman dressed in a champagne minus colored gown approached. Holding a glass of wine. Her gaze was fixed on Lu Shine, and her voice was sweetly coquettish. Shanji, congratulations. Is this your wife? Just really? Simple and unassuming. My name is Lin Fei Fei, I'm Shanji's junior student. There was more to her words than met the eye, and the disdain and jealousy in her gaze almost seemed to spill over. Before I could even react, Lu Xian's expression had already turned grim. Simple? You don't know a thing. My wife is like a lotus flower emerging from clear water, naturally beautiful. Without any artificial embellishment. It's you and your whole family who are all about simplicity. No, wait. Your face clearly shows you've had cosmetic surgery. It's as flat and lifeless as a steamed bun. How dare you show off in front of my wife? Still calling him Brother Shen. Who's your brother? Get lost. I raised my wine glass and smiled as I met Lin Fei's gaze. Hello, Ms. Lin. As for what happened between me and Lu Shen, you don't have to bother yourself with it. Hearing this, Lu Shen immediately started applauding wildly in my mind. Great job. You're amazing, honey. Beat her at her own game. No wonder she's the woman I've always had my eye on. A deeper smile appeared on the corners of my mouth. It seems this arranged marriage isn't as bad as I had imagined. The banquet finally came to an end, and Lu Shen led me, though he himself said it was absolutely necessary for him to hold my hand, or else his wife would run off with someone else. Back to our marital home. Through the enormous floor minus to minus ceiling windows, the city's dazzling night view stretched out before him. The room was decorated in a warm and romantic style. Yet as soon as Lu Shen stepped inside, he instantly reverted to his usual aloof and detached demeanor. A cold, commanding CEO. He loosened his tie, casually tossed it onto the sofa, then headed straight for the bathroom. He'll take a shower first. With a loud bang, the door slammed shut. Standing alone in the vast living room, I felt somewhat at a loss. If it weren't for the lingering remnants of his lewd remarks in my mind, I'd really think he hated me to death. 10 minutes later, the bathroom door opened. Lu Shen emerged wearing only a bath towel. Droplets of water slid down his toned abdominal muscles, making him irresistibly sexy. He walked past me without so much as glancing sideways, sat down on the sofa, picked up a financial newspaper, and pretended. He started reading it with a serious expression. Why isn't she moving yet? Is she shy? Should I take the initiative? No, that might scare her. What if she thinks I'm being too forward? She's looking over here. Did she see my ABS? I've been working out for so long just for this moment. Why has she pounced on me yet? Why is this wife so hard to handle? I took a deep breath and decided to tease him. I slowly made my way over to him, sat down on the single sofa beside him, picked up a magazine, and pretended to read it seriously as well. The newspaper in Lu Xian's hand shook noticeably. She's sitting down. She's so close to me. I can already smell her fragrance. What's she looking at? A fashion magazine? She hinting that I should buy her some clothes. Buy them. Absolutely have to buy them. It'd move the whole mole back home. Why isn't she saying anything yet? I'm about to burst. The air was eerily silent, only the rustling of pages turning between the two of us and the barrage of comments in his head. On the verge of exploding, I cleared my throat and asked casually, Lucian, about today evening. Sleep in separate rooms. He immediately interrupted me, his voice as cold as ice. I was stunned. I said the wrong thing. How could I be so stupid? Why did I even bring up sleeping in separate rooms? I just want to cuddle up with my wife. What should I do? Words once spoken are like water spilled now. Is it still possible to take them back? I couldn't help but burst into laughter when I noticed the suspicious redness at the base of his ears. Sure, if you want to sleep in separate rooms. And we'll sleep in separate rooms. I stood up, deliberately drawing out my voice. Well then, I'm off to the guest room. Wait a minute. Lucian sprang to his feet, and the newspaper fell to the floor. He looked at me, his eyes filled with panic, his ears burning red to the point of almost bleeding. I was just joking. She's leaving. I'm done for. My wife is going to sleep in a separate room from me. Why can't I ever keep my mouth shut? Looking at his expression, which was on the verge of tears, I could no longer hold back and reached out to hug him. I was just joking. Chill. Lucien's body froze instantly, then suddenly pulled me back into his embrace with such force that it felt as if he were about to knead me into his very bones and blood. My wife hugged me. My wife took the initiative to hug me. I'm about to faint. She smells so good, so much softer than I'd imagined. I don't want to let go, not even for a lifetime. Song Chie. His voice was muffled, tinged with a hint of resentment. You've known all along, right? I buried my face in his chest, laughing so hard that my shoulders shook him. Ever since the wedding, all those thoughts you've been having. Honey, you smell so good, that's when I knew. Lucien's face instantly turned bright red, and he wished he could find a crack in the ground to crawl into. Done for. My character is totally blown. My wife found out I'm a pervert. Will she start to dislike me? You're not repulsed by me, I said, reaching out to cup his face and looking at him earnestly. I think this Lucian, this version of you, is way cuter than that cold, aloof CO. Lucien's eyes lit up, like a child who'd just gotten a candy. She said I'm cute. It's. Why, it said I'm cute. He lowered his head and kissed me. This kiss, devoid of his usual cool restraint, carried the fiery intensity and eagerness unique to youth along with an unhid joy and deep appreciation. Moonlight streamed in through the window, gently falling upon the two embracing figures. So tender it was almost unbelievable. Life after marriage was completely different from what I had imagined. Outside, Lucian remains the unyielding, ascetic, and aloof CEO of the Lu Group, but at home, HES completely transformed. Every morning I'm woken up by his and minus game chat bubbles. My wife's sleeping face is so cute. She looks just like a little kitten. Her eyelashes are moving. She's about to wake up. I'm going to pretend I didn't peek. When he came home in the evening, HED pretend to be aloof as he handed me the documents to sign while inside his head, he was screaming frantically. My wife's hands are so beautiful, and the way she holds a pen is just as lovely. She's so close to me I can smell the fragrance in her hair. I'm going crazy. Then Feifei later came to cause trouble several more times, but Lucian calmly dealt with each of her attempts without showing any emotion. That day, Lin Feifei blocked me at the company's entrance, said in a sarcastic tone that I wasn't good enough for Lucian. Lucian immediately stepped in front of me and, with a cold expression, snapped at her. My wife, it's none of your business to comment on that. Then, the on-screen comments in his brain almost made me laugh my head off. Not good enough? She's the treasure I. Lucian, hold dear in the palm of my hand. Who are you to even dare compare yourself to her? Honey, don't be afraid, I'm here with you. No one can bully you. On the way home, I couldn't help but ask him, Lucian, have you been secretly crushing on me for a long time? Lucian tightened his grip on the steering wheel, and his ears turned red again. He remained silent for a long time before whispering. The first time I saw you was at the Song family's banquet. You were wearing a white dress, feeding cats in the garden. Right then, I knew, this girl. I'm going to marry her. I was stunned. It turns out, it wasn't me who was reaching out, it was him who'd been planning this all along. It turns out that in those corners where I thought no one was watching, he'd already been watching me, in his own way for a very, very long time. I leaned in and kissed him on the cheek. Lucian, I am too. When did it start? Probably when I first heard those flustered yet candid words from him at the wedding. That's when my heart began to flutter, I think. Lucian slammed on the brakes, turned his head to look at me, his eyes shining brighter than the stars. You too? My wife likes me too. I smiled and nodded. I like you. Lucian leaned in and kissed me, kiss that was both tender and solemn. I'm so happy. I want to spend my whole life with my wife. Later, I asked Lucian why he had to pretend to be so cold and indifferent. He scratched his head and said somewhat shyly, I'm afraid that if you knew I liked you, you'd stop cherishing me. And I'm also worried that if you think him too enthusiastic, you might get scared and run away. I want to take things slow and give you the very best. I leaned against his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart, and couldn't help but smile. This man, who seems as cold as ice in front of outsiders, reveals all his tenderness, passion, and childlike spontaneity without reservation when HES with me. His aloofness is the armor he wears to face the world, yet his tenderness is the soft spot that belongs solely to me. The Lucian who delivered cold, emotionals as lines at the wedding, and the Lucian who's holding me now, his eyes and heart filled entirely with me though clearly the same person, are utterly different from one another. And how fortunate I am to be the safe haven for all his tenderness. The night was soft and gentle, and his voice echoed in my ear, tinged with a hint of trepidation. Honey, do you think, should we have a baby? I smiled and looked up, meeting his anxious yet excited gaze and the frantic honey, just say yes, scrolling endlessly through his mind. Unable to resist, I nodded. Lucian's eyes lit up in an instant, glowing like a little kid who'd just been rewarded. Then he wrapped his arms around me and spun me around once. The moonlight outside the window was gentle, and the indoor lights cast a warm, golden glow. As I watched him smile, looking like a fool, I suddenly realized that this marriage, which had begun as a forced arrangement, was actually the luckiest thing that had ever happened to me in my life. It turned out that the man who appeared so self-minded, restrained and aloof in front of others, reserved his tender words exclusively for me alone. His tenderness, too, was directed solely toward me. For the rest of our lives, it's all him, all me, and all of us.